Hi everybody, welcome to my ranch in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm Andrea Fappani. Thanks for joining me today. We're here thanks to Bimeda, the makers of Polyglycan and Equimax. So make sure you check it out at bimeda.com. I'm here today because I wanted to talk about a subject that I think could be useful for any kind of rider or horse owner, and it's pushing yourself and pushing your limits, but keeping in mind what your horse's limits are. So I think as a rider and as a showman, you have to push yourself past your limits in order to better yourself, meaning that you got to get out of your comfort zone. We always talk about being comfortable and being stagnant. You don't want to feel comfortable all the time, but your horse needs to have that comfort. So those are two different things that I think are important to keep in mind. As a rider, you need to push yourself past that comfort zone in order to get better, to be able to achieve bigger things, higher scores, more difficult maneuvers, whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be showing, it doesn't have to be a score, but it has to be goals that you're setting for yourself. As a horse, you need to keep that comfort zone. Now, in training, myself as a trainer that trains a lot of young horses, I play with that a lot too, because I've got to be able to push my horses to almost to their limit and then back off and instill confidence in my horses. But you as a rider, especially if you're a non-pro, be careful not to pass that comfort zone for your horse, or you are going to lose that confidence, and that's going to bring a lot of trouble later on. So knowing yourself, or asking your trainer or whoever you're working with an opinion of where that comfort level is, where is that horse's ability, what can my horse do to where I'm not going to ask for more than that, because that is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see. People getting frustrated with what their horses are doing. It's because they're expecting that horse to do something more than what he's able to do. So it's not to say that a year from now, 2 years from now, that horse may not be able to do what you're asking him to do today, but what can he do today? That's all you're gonna get today. So if you know at all times what that horse is capable of doing, you can get yourself in a good situation to where you're pushing him to do it and expecting him to do it, but don't overdo it to where you're taking a step backwards. I've seen so many times people get into a certain spot to where everything is going well, either in training or showing, and then expect more than that, and now we're going to fall backwards. That happens because you're asking too much out of your horse for that time period where you're at right now, and that horse loses his confidence, and then the minute you lose confidence on a horse, then he's not going to be able to perform at its best. So keep that in mind. One way that I find out that it's easy for me to learn and to study what I can do is by watching other people. Get yourself to the shows and watch what's happening both in the practice pen and in the show pen. I see so many times, even professional trainers showing a horse and going past what that horse can do just because of the excitement. Maybe they made the finals, maybe there's a high score before them that they're trying to beat. Now we lost the focus on what my horse can do and what I can expect out of my horse, and it's more about what I want to accomplish. What do I want to score? What do I want to win? That never works out for me. So I always try to keep a good eye on what's going on out there, but also having a really realistic expectation of what my horse can do today. So if I have a 74 score in front of me, but my horse is only able to mark a 72.5, what I'm going for is that 72.5, because knowing that I'm gonna go for 73, I'm probably gonna end up with a 69 or a 70. Putting yourself in that situation at horse shows to where you're starting, it's probably one of the most important things. How many times are you really paying attention to what other people are doing to better yourself? Are you just hanging out in the stands, having fun with your friends and not paying attention with what's going on? Nothing wrong with having fun, nothing wrong with hanging out and just having a good time, but keep focused on what you're there for. Are you there to learn? Are you there to focus on your horse? Are you there to perform? Those are all things to keep in the back of your mind, because it's easy to say, oh yeah, I went up and watched a little bit, but how much attention did you really pay when you were watching? Watching people's shows tells you a lot of about horse showing. You can see it's easy when you're in the stand seeing what they're doing wrong. It's a lot harder to see what you're doing wrong as you're doing it yourself. But if you're sitting in the stands and watching other people's mistakes and strengths, because there's a lot of things to learn from, I think it's one of those great things that you can do, and it doesn't cost anything. There's videos out there. There's so many training videos nowadays. When I grew up, it was a lot harder. You had to read everything, and I loved reading in the Rainer or other magazine, Horseman Rider, all these articles. But nowadays, it's so easy to get on the internet and finding so many training tips and so many video series. that can help you. You know, myself, I put a great video together, and I thought that it was so good because I put different trainers together. It wasn't just about my method, but it was about me, Nick Dowers, and Sean Florida in Along for the Ride, and we did a symposium. And I thought that I brought a lot of good information out there because it wasn't just my information, it was 3 people talking about horse training and horsemanship. And that's really what you need to focus on. It's horsemanship. It's not one discipline or the other. Learn how the horse think, learn from the best out there, and become a better horseman yourself.